A very common situation I come across is when somebody comes to me and they are they're an employee and they are the subject of an investigation or a disciplinary procedure in the workplace. And when they come to me, I've noticed a lot of the time they may be facing very serious allegations in the investigation. There may be serious allegations against them, either one or more than one. And yet, when they come to me, they have this focus, this preoccupation with looking at how the employer is carrying out the investigation and how the employer is carrying out the disciplinary procedure. And there's a problem with that, in my view, because the danger is the employee is too focused on the actual procedure and are failing to give sufficient time and attention to the substantive issue, the allegation against them. Let me give you an example. Let's say you as an employee are accused of something serious like theft in the workplace, or like assaulting perhaps a colleague or a customer or a client in the workplace. Clearly they are serious allegations, and sooner or later the allegation is going to have to be addressed by you. In other words, you're going to have to address the specific allegation against you and put your version of events, put your side of the story and explain your actions. A lot of employees who come to me, however, do a bit of research online and do a bit of research about investigations and disciplinary procedures, and they learn about employment rights, and they may learn about employment rights on a website like mine or indeed any other website, because all they have to do is do an internet search. And what happens is they understand then that the disciplinary procedure and the investigation procedure must be carried out in a specific way, and it must be fair and it must be transparent and it must afford natural justice and fair procedure to the employee. And that's fair enough, and sometimes the employers can get it very, very badly wrong, and they can rush their fences and they can make a complete hames of the thing and ultimately leave themselves open to claims. But in the meantime, there is no doubt that the employer is entitled to investigate serious allegations about the conduct of an employee. And the employee then, as I say, when they come to me, seem to have a preoccupation with focusing only on the procedure, only on what the employer has done or is doing, whereas they should spend as much time or more time looking at the substantive allegation against them. So whether that's assaulting somebody or stealing money or theft or some other allegation of misconduct or gross misconduct in the workplace, that will have to be addressed. And the employee must remember that they're going to get a certain amount of mileage out of a failure by the employer to afford fair procedures and natural justice. However, it is the case that the High Court and various other courts, various other tribunals have held that the employer, particularly one who has limited resources, that is a small employer, doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. In other words, provided that the overall procedure is fair, provided that the overall procedure puts the allegations to the employee, provided that the overall procedure allows the employee to address those allegations and explain their position, provided there's fairness in arriving at the decision and fairness in the investigation stage, provided those things happen, any little infirmity or imperfection on behalf of the employer may not be enough to save the employee later on if they are, for example, dismissed or otherwise disciplined. So that's just a point that I'm making. The employee needs, and when they come to me, as I said, they seem to have a sort of a focus or a sort of obsession with looking at the procedure and seeing, is the employer behaving perfectly and seeing is there any infirmity in the procedure and the way that it's carried out. But they should spend as much time or more time on the substantive issue, and that is the allegation against them, because sooner or later it is going to have to be addressed, and a little imperfection or a little infirmity in the procedure may not be enough later on. If the allegation is proved and if you lose your job, it may not be enough to allow you to win a claim for constructive dismissal or unfair dismissal, or any other claim for that matter. Anyway, I hope you find this video useful. Thank you for subscribing or sharing and commenting on my videos and on my channel. I appreciate it, and gives me great encouragement to continue making videos that I hope are useful for employees and indeed for employers. If you find this video useful, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up down below.